like to welcome our judges up on the stage. While they're coming up, I just have to point something out that is completely awesome about this Pitch Slam. We have 5 killer contestants, and 4 of them are female-led businesses. So how awesome is this industry? We realized this while we were getting ready, and we're like, this is the best. We're natural foods. First, I just want to cover who our awesome panel of judges is. First, we have Tracy Medema, who is the VP of Innovation and Brand Development at Presence Marketing. Then we have Pete Speranza, who is the Business Development Principal at 301 Inc. at General Mills. Next up is John Sebastiani, the founder of investment group and incubator Sonoma Brands. And finally, returning to the stage is Natasha Case, the CEO and co-founder of Cool House. Yay. So with that, let's kick it off. So our first brand is Sarah Snacks. So please welcome Sarah Lanphier to the stage. And clicker. You can start.
Okay. Hello. I want to start off by giving you a very brief overview of our story. So I started my company 10 years ago as a college project to raise money for the triathlon team that I was racing on at the time. And I ended up launching the company with my mom that same year, my senior year. So we've spent the majority of our time in the private label and co-manufacturing space. And we were able to, last year, sit down and really do a deep dive into our company and say, where do we really want to go? Who do we really want to be? And we decided for the first time that we wanted to invest in a brand platform. So we brought in some people. We spent about 6 months doing a lot of hard work. And as a result, we launched Sarah's Snacks. So why did we choose Sarah's Snacks? Well, there's an authentic person and a story behind the brand. So I am Sarah of Sarah's Snacks, in case you didn't make that connection. But what it really allowed us to do was create a platform that we could introduce multiple types of products under. So the first thing that we wanted to do after we launched this brand was to launch a new innovative product. And we decided ultimately that we wanted to launch a Better For You candy brittle, which I'm hoping that some of you had the ability to try. Skip through here. So why did we ultimately decide on candy brittle? So brittle itself is an iconic category that is way overdue for a makeover, for a Better For You makeover. We really wanted to be able to incorporate a vegan and plant-based diet trends. But more importantly, based on other products that we've seen in the past, we saw exponential growth in Better For You indulgences in particular. So what makes our product better for you? So we replaced the butter with organic coconut oil. We replaced the corn syrup with organic brown rice syrup. It contains 40% nuts and seeds, which is a much, much higher ratio than typically what you would find in a candy brittle, which ultimately reduces the overall sugar in the product. A couple of things about the product. So our goal SRP is eventually $3.99. It will enter into the market for $4.99 for a 4-ounce bag. Our ultimate target consumer is a health-conscious consumer. Our brand really we don't have a ton of badges, we don't make a ton of claims. What we really try to do is we really try to focus on the product to develop the best product that we possibly can for the best nutritional value, and will allow the brand to speak for itself. So with that, I'd love it to open up with some questions.
Great. Thank you so much. Have you take a step that way? Get a little closer to our judges. They don't bite. You can come right up here or there, wherever you want to go. And so now we've got 4 minutes of questions from the judges. So guys, to kick it off, what do you think of the product? What is it? Give us your feedback on the taste.
I'll get started.
Okay.
Really tasty, and I like the plant-based feature that you've engineered in. Question for you, since you're a bit of a crossover with it being a nut-based snack and a confection, where do you see the product being merchandised?
In the candy category.
Candy.
So we see a main, Bark Thins would be sort of a similar trajectory where they took a chocolate category and they totally changed it. But it's still a familiar product, so Bark is a familiar classic candy that's been around for a long time. So is brittle. So we kind of taken that same mindset or that same thought process of trying to make it better for you, more snackable, less hard, not as crunchy, so a little bit easier to eat.
What's the thought pattern behind the size? Is it something that's you're very intentional about, or is that just kind of how it breaks apart
So,
of each piece, I mean?
yes, so we are in the, this product isn't actually launched yet. So we are going to launch it at the Fancy Food Show at the end of the month. And so we are doing some trial runs with a co-packer. So these are bench samples that you see. So it will be a little bit thinner, and the piece size will be a little bit more consistent, but it won't be a uniform shape. And that's traditionally how brittle is.
So you talked a little bit about competition and around the sugar piece. What would be the differential on the sugar grams compared to a competitor that's doing just a normal brittle? Is there a meaningful difference, or is it?
We had a little bit hard time finding statistical information on the leading candy brittle because it's just a really stale category.
Yeah.
So it has 10 grams of sugar per 30 grams, which is the standard serving size for candy, and that's pretty low for candy. I mean, it's even low for a trail mix that has a lot of dried fruit in it.
Right,
so.
right. Okay, good.
John, you've shaken up some classic confectionery categories. What do you think?
Right.
I love it. It's a terrific product. I just wonder, when you think about the brand guardrails, I mean, what one space do you really want to own? I mean, when you define your brand, what is the ownership of that space?
As far as the
I mean,
type
paleo, vegan. I mean,
so we really wanted to create a brand that could appeal to, we didn't want to create a very, very niche brand. So we wanted to create something that was familiar, that could speak across categories, that could do well in a traditional grocery market, but it could also do well in a health food type market like a Whole Foods.
Just a thought for you, could be interesting to look at the more B2B kind of bulk supply, because it's very, very difficult to find, for example, non-dairy toffees for ice cream.
Ice cream, yeah.
So because this product is
You may
really
have a new
thin-
customer.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
I happen to know someone, but
So this product is really thin, so the breakage rate is really high. It's something we're trying to get down through trial runs. And so I have a significant amount of fines that I might be able to sell you at a discount.
all right, let's talk.
Couple of questions. Brittle, it's nice and crunchy right now. What's the shelf life, and does it get sticky?
Yes, so the shelf life is a year, and we will put oxygen packs in it, which really helps pull out the moisture to keep it from getting too sticky or oily when it sits on the shelf.
Okay. And another question is, you talked about your brand being a platform for snacking. How do you see the brand expanding and into what other areas?
So the tagline is inspiring mindful snacking, and we purposely chose that when we were going through our rebranding, that we were looking at all of the assets and we're looking at our own food philosophy. So my mom is my business partner. We are a 100% women-owned company. And she's a registered dietitian and has been my whole life. So her food philosophy became my food philosophy. And we're all about portion control, eating real food, but it has to taste amazing. That's the number one thing. People want to eat better, but they don't want to eat products that don't taste good. So so what we did is we started to use more chef-like processes and mindsets when we're developing the product. In the manufacturing space, we always say developing the product is the art of it, and manufacturing the product is the science. So you want to make sure that you separate the two of them.
Well, with that last overview of the brand, we are out of time. So thank you so much, and we'll move on to the next contestant. Thank you.